Hey, everybody, welcome back. Today, we're here to talk about the 1998 film Blade. And as always, I have here Ramon,
Hey guys.
Raul,
Howdy, howdy.
and Sylvia.
Hello.
Hey, how come she got more enthusiasm out of you, jerk?
because I'm expecting big things out of her in this episode.
Oh, yeah. I'm so ready.
No, but guys, the reason why I want to talk about Blade is because for some reason Disney's having problems getting this movie made. They announced back in 2019 Blade, and for some
Was it
reason
19?
2019, that's when they made the big
Wow.
announcement, and for some reason they
5 years ago?
they cannot make this movie happen. So we're gonna talk about why. Why is it impossible to make a Blade in 2024? So we'll discuss. But before we get there, I do want to hear what you guys have been talking about. So Sylvia, let's go with you. What have you been watching? Game of Thrones.
I haven't, no,
Oh.
because listen, I was told about Mashal last time, and I binged it. I had no time for anything else after the second episode. I was hooked. I couldn't watch anything else. Obviously, you have to watch it at 2 times speed. It makes it a lot faster. But it was so much fun. It's kind of like One
But the
Punch Man, but
jokes.
it's kind of like One Punch Man, but it's a little bit, like it has a little bit more to it, I guess. The best way to say it. And I really enjoyed it. I spent all of my Wednesday, which I had off, so happy Juneteenth for everybody that's watching now. But
There you go.
I spent all of my Wednesday just watching and finishing up the second season. It was probably one of the better animes that I've watched, and I haven't watched many, so.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that comment at the
Yeah.
end
Haven't
kind
watched
of
that
threw me
many,
off.
yeah.
But still.
I mean, since we started recording with us, Sylvia, I kind of been trying to figure out your personality. And, are you more of a Raul or Ramon or Carlos? Right now, you're sadly going a little bit more towards a Raul, which,
Sadly? What do you mean, sadly?
I can't be a Sylvia. I have to be one of you three.
I mean, definitely it's Sylvia. It's just
Yeah, but
we,
yeah,
we
so-
have different levels of anime love and stuff. So I think that's the metric that he's.
So who's
No.
more intense, Carlos?
So Carlos and I are probably the most different, and Ramon
Okay.
is more in the middle between us.
Yeah.
I'm loose, man. You give me something, I'll
Yeah,
try
you
it
are
out.
loose.
If I don't like it, I don't like it.
I will say, live action, Carlos and I are probably more similar.
No. And,
Than
and me, and
anime.
Raul,
Okay.
me and Raul have watched a lot of the same shows. It's just he's more open to
To other
kinds of shows.
It's okay though. If it wasn't for Raul, I would never watch Blue Lock. Blue Lock was like one of my new favorite ones. Well, not
Yeah.
favorite ones, but one of my new fun ones to watch. So
Yeah, Blue Lock was fun. I remember the one time you told me you were watching a cycling anime. Like I
Oh,
just,
yes!
yeah,
I still like it.
Yeah.
It's still like
I'll bring it up to my son at some point, because we've been watching Haikyuu finally. So we're probably like 10, 11 episodes into that. So it's been cool watching it.
Cool.
And we're watching it in Japanese. So he's
Yeah, 'cause
finally
there's
reading
no-
and doing some
Subs, yeah.
some
Yeah.
dubs,
there
yeah.
you go.
Well, there's no
Nice.
dub to it, so yeah.
Look, there's Spanish dub, but he didn't want
There
to
you
watch it in
go.
Spanish. So
Yeah.
like, fine, we'll watch in Japanese.
but is that all, Sylvia? Nothing else? I mean, 24 episodes, right? So obviously that's a lot of.
and nothing else. I apologize. I just once it got me
I forgive
hooked. I
you.
could not stop watching it, and then I've been playing a lot of video games too lately,
Oh,
as of
great.
recently. Which honestly, great. Kind of sucks though. It's all so hot and humid, and my computer just makes it a toaster
Yeah.
in the room that I'm in here.
Yeah.
No, yeah, the grass in my front yard looks very sad right now.
Mhm.
Whose
Mine
fault's
looks
that?
fine. Nice and long.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, Ro. What have you been watching, Ro?
So I've been watching Haikyuu with my son.
Aw.
It's been a while since we watched Shippuden, so we kind of
Mhm.
paused it to watch that. I'm still kind of grinding away at One Piece. So I'm in the 1040s for that.
Nice.
I finally started Ranking of Kings. That's kind of interesting. It's a kid with a crown. I'm sure you've seen either like an image or something on Crunchyroll, but pretty much this kid is the son of a giant, and the giant was the king, and he's deaf, so he can't talk or hear. And then a bunch of stuff happens, and he's kind of not at the throne, and he's kind of training to get strong, but he can't get strong. It's weird. It's interesting. It's a little bit sad, but it's interesting. It's very different animation style, which kind of makes it but it's good. I got a lot of people recommending it, so it's pretty interesting so far.
I just looked it up. So yeah, that kid does look familiar, but I couldn't tell you anything about it.
Yeah, I've had several people recommend it, so I started watching it finally because and besides watching like my one episode a week things like Gogoluza Ranger, Kaiju Number 8, Demon Slayer, My Hero,
Yes.
and Delicious in Dungeon. Been watching that too.
Yeah.
Weekly.
My
Wait,
Hero-
Sylvia.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, Sylvia, have you started watching Kaiju number 8?
Not yet. I had to
Okay.
finish Mashal. Yeah.
Oh no, of course, priorities.
That was the priority that week.
Yeah.
I was just wondering because I feel like you'll like that one too because that one's also very similar to One Punch Man and like
Mm.
the humor, like kind of the attitude, and the difference in that one and why I really appreciate it is because the main guy, he's 32 years old, so it gives you a whole different perspective than your typical like 14, 16-year-old anime protagonist. So that'll be a fun one. You should get into that one. So
Yeah.
I'm starting it tomorrow.
oh wow,
I have it
really?
already set up. Yeah, I'm ready.
I'm kind of hoping that the next 2 episodes of Kaiju number 8 get a little bit better, just because I don't know where it's kind of going, especially now that we're nearing the end. So I'm hoping something crazy happens.
Well, consider what happened last episode.
Well, I know we can't talk about it, but yes, yeah. I mean, it should be going somewhere good, right? Makes sense.
No, that's exciting. Anything that's not anime related, bro? Like, have you gone to the movies or anything?
No, I don't think so. No, because I was gonna go see the Haikyuu movie, but then I had strep throat that one time.
He's lying.
that's
He watched
right.
all of Love Is Blind.
See,
He went on
yeah.
a whole binge. Yeah.
see, you got the wrong one though. That's this guy. Okay.
Milf Manor. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. It's just crazy because I think like you're normally the guy that's dating every Saturday, so I figure you're checking out every big movie that's coming up, like Bad Boys for Life. I was waiting for a review from you on that.
Oh,
Oh my God! I guess we lost them.
Wow.
Yeah, no.
That's crazy.
Let's continue. Ramon, what have you been doing?
Oh man, no. Well, still going on the Kaiju number 8. Still like it, but like you said, it's kind of getting to a point where I'm like, all right, so what's next? But at least we got a kind of an advancement in the story that I was waiting for, so that's good.
Yeah.
Again, Demon Slayer as well, but I'm just waiting for that to end because who wants to keep watching that right now? Even though it's funny and it's great,
Yeah.
but no. Other than that, The Boys. I only the first episode. But the new first episode out of the 3 available on Amazon, The Boys started great. I'm actually really happy because it's not as well. I don't know. Have you watched any of it, Sylvia?
Yeah, have you watched any of that?
Okay,
No.
so no crazy spoiler alerts, but I just like at least kind of how one main character is kind of dealing with something different that we've never seen before. So that's been really fun and exciting for me. And then of course House of Dragon. 100%. Like I needed to get back into that. So again, another one that I'm kind of still here waiting for you. You don't have to watch Game of Thrones.
that's my
first.
next two. Yeah.
Yeah,
Once I get back to Game of Thrones, I think I'm gonna watch them kind of together, like an episode of that and then an episode of House of Dragon.
Yeah, because it really, and it's like really the same show in a sense because it's like same type of character because it is the same world, but it's just because it's so far behind, like what 300 years, Carlos, or something like that, right? Like
Yeah, I mean, I read the book, but then
Yeah.
it's immediately after the show was done, I'm like, I don't need this. I don't need this to be in my brain anymore.
yeah, but it's enjoyable to watch though, and it's just all the drama and all the freaking crazy like incest and stuff. So
Well-
I don't know, but that's about it,
Well, Ramon, you know what? Let me ask you real quick about House of Dragons, because I haven't watched it. I really haven't heard anything about it. I saw some of the scores that people gave it. So, do you think it came back stronger than ever? Because I even saw that the viewership was down like 20% from what it was last year. So it's like, what can you give me like? Is it worth the first episode, or like watch it now, or just keep waiting?
No, I'd say watch it now. I think what it was Father's Day weekend, right? Because that's
Yeah,
when it came out this
yeah.
past weekend. So I think people weren't prioritizing like House of the Dragon. But at the same time, because it is this one episode, like we were talking about earlier, and you were talking about Mashal, is the whole idea of like the first episode is never going to be the most crazy. Yes, by the end of the episode, you're like, oh fuck, give me the next one, give me the next one. I want to watch the next one. So yes, it's still worth it if you like the
They had
first.
2 episodes, didn't they?
Just one.
I only
Just
just
one.
one. But
Oh.
but it was
long.
It really wasn't a slow start. It was just like the continuation of the story. But of course they played it very slow, and you're dealing with a lot of loss. Like Rhaenyra dealing with all that stuff that she was dealing with. And yeah, it took the whole episode to finally be like, okay, shit's about to get real again. I forgot, this is crazy. But you know,
and
it
the whole
is
rat thing too.
yeah, but it's a whole first episode, so it makes sense that people weren't like, oh, I got time to wait, like I don't need it, you know.
I
Even
do
though it's an
feel,
hour. People
yeah,
wait.
I do feel like if their numbers don't go up, I don't know, man. I feel like it's a mistake to drop it in the summer because I feel like that show is it's like something that
Winter.
It's a fall
goes more.
show.
Yeah, it's more of a fall show. That's where
because
it's like
winter is coming.
you know, it's already like 8 p.m. It's dark outside. Like right now, there's sun outside, and I'm enjoying it. So I'm like, there's really no reason for me to tell my wife like we need to get out of this birthday party to go watch House of the Dragon.
It's funny that you mentioned that because I love the show in the sense that anywhere in Westeros or like any of that area that you're at, like you do feel the different like atmosphere. And then they showed the wall again, like the north for a little bit, like in not as well as there was a little small scene. And then I think I immediately thought of that. I'm like, damn, I wish it was kind of winter. Not because I want it to be winter, but it's like, it's just that show does feel better in the winter. Like, I don't know
Absolutely.
what it is about it.
Yeah.
But no, I think it was just the weekend, like bad weekend it started in. And then at the same time, like, again, with that show, you probably want 2 or 3 to start it because then you're going to be like, keep watching it instead of like right now. I'm like, I'm hooked. I'm waiting for what's happening next. And I can't because I got to wait. So
I think that they haven't been like advertising it well, like or they didn't advertise it well beforehand, because I knew that it was coming, but I wasn't sure when. So then like I only watched it because I knew, I think I saw like a Monday or Tuesday, because like I realized, oh wait, it did come out, but then I didn't have time to watch it until afterwards.
And there was some good marketing behind it in the sense of like, yeah, late, but like, didn't the Empire State Building have one of the dragons, like, or something
all
like
over
on
the
top of it?
world?
Oh,
man.
yeah,
Even
yeah,
Mexico,
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 put their
yeah.
banners like down at their
The
with
black,
the Capitol. Yeah, it's just like, dude, that's
Screw the
awesome.
Greens.
I mean, it's gonna be build momentum, so I'm not worried about it at all.
No.
You know, I've been seeing The Boys. I highly do recommend it, Sylvia. There's a character that's like the Superman of that world, and he is Homelander. He's just the best to like watch. Like it should be just the Homelander show.
So good.
He's so good.
And especially when now that he's dealing with his little crisis, right?
Yeah, yeah. But it's so funny because obviously Homelander's just a piece of shit, and you don't ever want to root for him. So it's like the people that actually take it seriously and I actually adore him for the wrong reasons. Like you guys are, like,
my god,
idiots! Like
it's so relevant. It is so relevant.
I think The Boys is a good one to talk after this in because we never talked about it. I recommend it to so many people. It's freaking gory and bloody and great. You know, it's different. It's not your typical superhero thing.
Yeah.
All right, so you have like you probably have like 6 weeks to watch all of The Boys.
Don't even worry about it. 2 times speed, I'll be there.
don't worry.
I don't know if you'll be able to keep up with A-Train. He's like the fast guy, so you'll be like, what happened?
No, honestly, with The Boys, you just need to watch the first 5 minutes, and right away you'll know if you're in or out. Just with the first 5 minutes. Yeah.
With A-Train and Queen Maeve.
Don't even mention anything.
Well, and I forget that too, like especially watching it with because my wife wants to watch it, right? And I forget how
she hasn't seen it.
No, she has. No, she has.
Okay.
But I'm saying like it's one of the shows that she wants to watch. Like she actually wants to like watch it with me. Won't really want me to go too far ahead, which is crazy because then I remember how gory it is, and then I'm like, dude, you're pregnant. Like, are you okay watching this? Like, like you know,
she's a nurse.
I know why she likes it, but it's just like it gets crazy sometimes. You're like, damn, like is this necessary? But okay, I'll watch it.
Yeah, especially like with the characters that can like shrink like Ant-Man to like this little size. Like
oh my god,
the things that they do with those characters is always like, like I applaud them for them.
Even in Gen
or
V.
Mother's Milk and his nemesis.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, just real quick so we can get onto it, Blade. I mean, I just been watching the Acolytes. Row by any chance?
Oh yeah, I've been watching that too. See, I watch so many things.
Yeah,
yeah, you do
forget about everything.
Which you know, that's the Star Wars show that's like 100 years before the prequels, and I'm gonna go ahead and just say something about it. Like I don't know if this is true or not. We were
waiting for you,
but there's a big debate about who the Sith in that show is, because right now it's all a mystery. He's wearing this really cool, what I think is a really cool mask. So I'm just gonna say it. My theory on who that is Carrie-Anne Moss, which is a character that appears.
I thought about it too. It's Trinity
maybe from the Matrix. So I that's who I think it is.
Really?
Like, there's another character that it makes it really obvious that it should be him, but I'm actually just kind of like try not to be like everybody and be like, oh, it should be him. I think it's Carrie Ann Moss's character. Everybody thinks it's the character that's always following that one girl, the young guy that's always with her, the one.
Oh, the guy from The Good Place.
If
The
I
Asian
don't,
guy.
yeah, the Asian guy. Oh yeah, he is from The Good Place. Yeah,
Yeah.
him. So everybody thinks it's him. I'm going the opposite.
Well, I could
and
see it being him. I never thought about it being him, but it could be him.
that might be too obvious of a choice. So I'm going just to again. Don't know if
I
it's
think it's going to be the Mother Witch.
I think it'll be Carrie Ann Moss.
That's what I thought.
Because spoilers, Ramon, but let's just say she doesn't make it very far in the show.
Dude, it's the first episode, and she's like in the opening poster.
Yeah. So there's definitely, I think you don't get an actress like her for 10 minutes of screen time.
Like Drew Barrymore in Scream.
Yeah. And then a movie that I saw that, Ramon, I think you had seen this and recommended it to me a while back, but it's called Polite Society.
Oh yeah, I love that movie.
And it was a really cool, fun, totally different, totally just random movie that I really, really, really enjoyed. It has a lot of kung fu, a lot of kind of Scott Pilgrim kind of stuff happening that you don't know if it's really happening or it's all in her head.
Who's in it?
Look it up right now. No, look it up right now. Just if you can. Carlos,
Yeah.
how'd you like the twist?
Oh, with the yeah, there's just there's a mom and son that are very close to each other.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, it's on my list.
Okay.
But Ramon, I think it's a very underrated movie. I'm probably never gonna hear anybody really talk about that movie, but I just thought it was a really wonderful.
I'll watch it. We can talk about it.
So
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
down. We can do a
It's on
watch
Prime
party.
Video.
no, the girl from Umbrella Academy's in it. She's really good in it. I just thought it was a very lovely movie. Yeah.
That's why she looks familiar.
I not only enjoyed it, but then the twist for me was extra. Like this movie, and it's just, again, it's one of those movies that when I saw the trailer for, I'm like, I'll watch it regardless. But then when it actually was available and I watched it, I think it took me by surprise of just how entertaining it was, because it's a story that you just don't expect. It's something different. And then other than that, it's just it's a ride. It's just something different.
And then just real quick, the last one that I'm gonna say is I saw Assassin. I think it's called Assassin. It's on Netflix, and it's like a rom-com.
Oh,
I don't know.
Hitman.
Hitman, yeah, Hitman. So I saw Hitman, and it was just like a
Oh,
rom-com.
with
Glenn
Glenn
Powell.
Powell.
Yeah, and it was-
The one that he co-wrote.
yeah, and I thought it was really good.
That's good.
Yeah,
The one actress in it will remind you of a young Salma Hayek. At least she did for me. So
I really
want,
like her.
So I really want to see her in more things, because I really came out of the movie falling in love with her, because I was already sort of in love with Glenn Powell. So I'm like, oh, now I'm coming sort of in love with
He
her,
is
and I
pretty
want to see.
dreamy.
He is dreamy, dude. In that movie, especially because he goes towards
Dude, he's in
Oh, yeah.
everything.
yeah.
That's okay. He needs to be in the new X-Men with the Cyclops.
I know.
Oh, Cyclops, yeah.
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 He's got to be Scott Summers.
That's
Yeah,
our
but,
Cyclops. Our Cyclops. Yeah.
Out of all of this, I guess I would recommend The Hitman, Polite Society, and then The Acolyte if you kind of enjoy the kind of stuff, even though it's been getting a lot of hate online, like always. But
Yeah, I mean that's the only thing with the Acolyte. You know how I feel about Star Wars shows. It's been really rough to kind of get on back into them ever since Obi-Wan for me. But the Acolyte, I literally just been waiting. But
yeah,
I haven't even seen Andor yet, and you keep freaking.
Oh,
You haven't seen Andor?
Andor's
No.
peak Star Wars, yeah. Definitely.
no.
It's
No.
besides Mandalorian season 1, maybe 2. Andor's been the best Star Wars show out there.
See what I got to deal with, Sylvia? These guys
Yeah.
harass me.
Like,
So it's
dang.
just
All
stay
right.
quiet, say nothing. Not kidding.
Well, let's stop talking about
Smile and
Disney.
wave.
Let's stop talking about Disney to talk about a movie that came out before Disney owned Marvel.
Yeah,
and maybe
yeah.
that's why it's so good and still
Mhm.
talked about today.
Oh my
but-
god, dude! It's
But yeah, let's
peak
get
Wesley Snipes.
Because it was the 90s movie too, so 90s movies
Yeah.
are extra
Mhm.
good.
Yeah. So let's talk about Blade. Sylvia, start us off, just because I don't even know if you have seen this movie. I'm hoping you tell us this was your first time watching it, but maybe it wasn't.
It was my first time watching it, yes. And I loved it. I can see why it would
Good.
take so long to make the next movie. The CGI, I think even for back then, was pretty good. And it's pretty on par to the things that we see nowadays.
Yeah.
And before you guys all kind of joined in, Raul and I were talking a little bit about kind of the movie, and I let him know that where I watched it, I could go 4 times speed. It was too much. So I stuck with my 2 times. But it was really good. I watched it with Mitchell, and the last thing that he even told me, and I agree with him, is we would go back and watch that movie at one time speed. It was that
nice.
good that we actually want to rewatch it
That's awesome.
fully. Yeah.
Okay.
So it was really, really good. I enjoyed, I think, every single part of it. For a 2-hour movie, I feel like it had everything it needed in it to feel like you thoroughly enjoyed everything, and it left you off on an ending where you're like, oh, well, is there going to be a second movie?
There is a second movie, and it's
3.
amazing too.
Said the third one shit.
Third one, don't
Didn't even
watch the
know.
third one.
Okay.
Do not watch the third one.
Even though it has Ryan Reynolds and Jessica Biel.
Don't watch it.
Oh,
And the guy
dang,
from
now I
Prison
gotta
Break.
watch it.
No,
No.
the second
Second
one.
one.
Honestly, if you did have that much fun with it, I would totally talk about the second one later on in the year. But yeah,
No, I would love to watch it. It was really good. The moment I started watching it, it already had me hooked.
yeah,
Well,
but
Just like that scene where they're all dancing and then the blood comes down,
Oh,
and
hell
then
yeah,
just
blood
like he
rain.
comes in. I'm like, oh dang.
so yeah, what did you think about that? Because that's like that. I think everybody that grew up watching this movie, that's the scene that everybody
that song, that's like the iconic Blade song.
Yeah.
So again, I watched it in 2 times speed and in 4 times speed for a little bit. It was a great remix. It was really good.
But
no, it's-
frequency.
800
like-
beats per minute.
Yeah, the guy walking in there and then him freaking out with the blood coming down and then Blade just
Oh,
walks
yeah.
in. That was just like it was amazing. Just
Yeah.
that whole part of it. That one scene really hooked you on for the rest of the movie, basically. I don't think there was a single scene where there wasn't like so much action that you were just not paying attention or not looking at the whole time. My eyes were glued to it.
I'm so happy to hear
But-
you say that. Yeah.
I mean, I love that you thought the rape was impactful because obviously the movie starts with the mom being bitten, but
Mhm.
like I like the idea that like I always remember the rave being the first thing that I remember.
Yeah.
And I thought
Mhm.
the mom story was like more of a flashback that you saw later. So when I watched it again, I'm like, oh, dang, it is right. Okay, we did
Mhm.
find out about the mother right away. But then yeah, like I do also love the idea of the what's I was gonna call him, the normie, but the human guy, like the non-vampire being in there, because like, you know, totally 90s guy going in there just be like, yeah, cool. And then all of a
Trying to
sudden,
hit on
like,
people. Yeah.
and it's just the whole vibe of that was just so great. And then
Mhm.
yes,
So,
it's,
want to party? What's
yeah,
up?
when the party sup. And again, I mean, I was in middle school when this movie came out, but it's like, you know, these are the people we were looking up
Oh,
to, like
yeah.
the like, you know, 18 or freaking 20-something-year-old 90s people is like the people that I tried to be like, and that was just a totally like bro in the 90s. And but
Mhm.
yeah, as soon as he starts finding out that it's kind of something sketch is going on, it turns so great because they're like, what the fuck? Oh damn, blood
Mhm.
ring? Okay.
Dude, and it's cool kind of seeing like like that guy. Like I don't know if you guys have seen the show SWAT. He's one of the like SWAT guys in the show too. So it's kind of cool seeing like some of the people in the Blade series movies kind of like now or more recent things.
Oh yeah. I,
kind-
mean, there's
I
a
kind
few
of,
them.
yeah, I kind of recognize him, but I didn't do like a good job at like looking him up or anything.
No, I just recognized him.
It's kind of funny because I think nowadays the whole idea of like a secret nightclub or a secret bar, it's very popular. So it's just like I'm
All the
surprised that people like
speakeasies.
like I'm surprised people like us don't like, wait a minute, like you're not getting nice try, vampire, you're not getting me tonight.
Well, he should have had. He should have
I'm
started.
not going
fucking-
to this
No,
butcher place.
Exactly. He should have started fucking questioning the second that he walked past the slaughterhouse. Like he's like,
Okay, I'm gonna be honest though, with the amount of speakeasies there are,
There
you
are
don't
a
know
lot.
what you're walking into. You
Oh,
could
you're
walk
right.
into a butcher shop, a
Also,
laundromat.
I would-
like,
no, no, I
I'm
would
not
totally go to a
questioning
rave
anything.
like
I'm
that.
walking.
So there's one in Chicago that I've been meaning to tell you guys where it's a magician thing, but you go through a laundromat to get
Yeah.
to the magician area. So it's like,
but,
yeah,
but
they're
again, dude was walking through a butcher shop, like a slaughterhouse. But not even that. There was the scene, and I don't know if you missed this, Sylvia, with the 1.5 speed. But it's like there was dead bodies, like bodies.
Yes!
and
Yeah.
he's like,
Yeah, he questioned it.
right?
Yeah.
And then he was just kind of
Yes.
walking like, what the? And I'm like,
They were
dude, that
dressed
would've
in
been the
white.
yeah, that would have
To
been the
be
second that I
fair,
would have
though,
walked away. Like, fuck that shit.
See, no, I'm walking into something like that. I'm seeing being like, wow, they've really invested in some really good props. This is gonna be such a good rave right now.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's gonna be so fetch.
It's gonna be lit.
Okay, so I mean, honestly, I think the biggest problem with a whole trying to get a new remake of Blade is Wesley Snipes does such a great job, man.
Dude.
It's so hard for me to disconnect them from being Blade, especially when I look up that his age is 61 and the guy that they currently cast as Blade is 50 years old. So I'm like, man, it's only like an 11-year
He could just
gap.
come back and do it.
Mhm.
I know it's I know
No, he can't.
He's too old, man. But yeah, it's just
No, but you know what? Like that's the thing, though. So they announced it 5 years ago. He was 45 at the time.
yeah.
And honestly, like Mahershala
Mahershala Ali,
Ali,
yeah.
he's a great actor.
And he
He's
wants
so
to
good.
do it. He wants
Yeah,
to do it.
and he I could completely see him doing Blade, but with all these issues, he's getting old. He's 50 now. Like,
Yeah.
the good thing is he doesn't look old. He can play younger than what he is.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
especially after watching this and all the action that Wesley Snipes did,
Yeah.
and it's peak Wesley Snipes, because I still remember
yeah.
this. I remember
Mhm.
like
Yeah. Demolition
like
Man.
yeah, Demolition Man, which is one of my favorite movies, and just all these action sequences and the way that they shot it's gonna be so hard to beat. That like I don't even know if they should do it anymore, even though we love the character. I love the character.
So I'm gonna tell you a little bit just why the third Blade might be a little bit like crap and it's not worth watching. But by that point, the actor Wesley Snipes had become so in love with this character that on set you had to refer to him as like Blade. Like that was like he was just kind of like I'm Blade, and that's how you're gonna refer to me. So he just incorporated that character, and I think that was maybe one of the
The
reasons
method
why that
acting.
movie just didn't do so well.
Which I was reading about it, and it looked like he wanted the character. He wanted to be Blade so bad, but he also said Blade's not going to talk that much. Like the way the director described him was he was kind of lazy, not in a bad way. Like he was hardworking, but he would leave early. He would come in late. And I
Yep.
guess he just he kept saying Blade's going to be a silent character. So it's weird that now you're telling me he got so into it where he only wanted to be referred to as Blade.
Yep.
Where in the first movie he was like, no, I'm going home.
Yeah. And then he also did go to jail for a couple of years for not paying his taxes. So just,
It happens to the best of us, you know?
to Al Capone.
Ask
obviously.
MC Hammer.
Yeah.
But it did suck for the third movie too, because you had like Ryan Reynolds, Jessica Biel, the guy from Prison Break. You had some like actors that at that time were like prime, and they were doing some like really fun
Ryan Reynolds
stuff.
was in the second one too, wasn't he?
No, third one.
No,
third
just
one.
the third one.
Just the third one.
Because
Okay.
the second one was just like where there was like that different strain, and then like the dad
spoil it.
vampire. Oh, I
Don't
mean,
spoil
well, I mean,
She'll get
yeah,
the
Well,
good- Don't spoil
the
it.
second one has the dude from Sons of Anarchy and
Yeah,
from
yeah.
Hellboy.
Let's just say there's a really cool plot twist that they take the second one in, which is I think that's why it's also like a very awesome movie to see and talk about.
yeah.
But yeah,
But
I mean with the first one,
third,
yeah, the third one's just this again. It's,
It's
more
not
about
even there.
yeah, it's
No.
more about the fall of Blade than anything else.
Mm.
but I
Yeah.
mean, yeah,
Blade Trinity.
Blade Trinity. Yeah, it was the Trinity. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, to your point, I think that absolutely Wesley Snipes. Like I remember like watching this movie before and thinking he was so badass. I remember now rewatching it and being like, he's goofy because like I forget the little one-liners he had every once in a while. But yeah, for a guy who wasn't talking so much and then most of the time was kicking ass, but then sometimes he'll say some funny shit and I'm like, there you go, fuck yeah. Like he did so good where you didn't think he was just trying too hard, and it was definitely with the mix of action and that little bit of comedy, kind of hit like a nice little spot where you're like, this is enjoyable. It's not like a real dark vampire movie. It was definitely meant to be more action filled, like definitely 90s like energy. The shots were fucking amazing. Like I forget that there's so many very beautiful like artistic shots that not the whole movie's like that, but it has a great variety of like shots and photography, and that's all the things that I'm rewatching it. I'm like, yeah, so it's not that it's just like it was maybe back then we thought it was amazing because we didn't have so many vampire movies, and some of the more recent ones had sucked because Twilight was around that time too, and I was just
Interview
like,
with a
"Fuck you."
Vampire.
Yeah, and that was like
Yeah.
a serious vampire movie, right? It was
Yeah.
uneventful, and then
Bram
this is
Stoker's
just-
Dracula.
yeah, and
Keanu.
yeah,
I,
but
I,
this one
that
was
was
like
bad.
nonstop.
I guess I was always impressed that there was a guy that was ready to like take vampires down, and he didn't give F's, man. He didn't care if this was a club full of vampires. Like this guy came prepared. The sword's probably made out of silver. He has like the boomerang. He has the shotgun. He has all these like weapons, and I think that's to me that's what makes it so cool. That you just have a guy that will go into a room, doesn't even ask questions, doesn't even care, doesn't even have like a game plan, but he'll get the job done. And I don't know, man. That's what I think makes Blade so freaking cool. It's like just get that, and you'll capture the character just right.
Like, he's
Yeah.
not
No,
afraid.
but I will say that the one caveat is anyone that goes to see this movie for the first time needs to understand that it's a 90s movie
90s.
because it's a very 90s movie because like besides like the CGI like some
It
of it is
wasn't bad.
practical. Yeah, the practical stuff like totally works. Like the serum with the blowy up the blood thing. That was cool. It kind of reminded me of
I thought
Total
that was
Recall.
cool. Yeah.
But then like some of the times where like when the vampires are turning into the skeleton flying
Yeah,
things,
that one was.
Oh no!
or some of that stuff, like you could tell that it's like okay, it's 90s like CGI, but and then like some of the fights, some of the shooting and stuff like that, you just have to suspend your disbelief quite a bit and just keep in mind it's 90s movie. They're a little bit more 90s.
I've always liked the way they quickly burn up because then there's no evidence, so it's like, oh, what are you talking about? Like there's nothing here for us to like analyze.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except for the True Bloods or the ones that were born vampires, because remember when they took one of the head guys from the family or whatever that group was, and
Dragon
then they
Knights
put
or
them
whatever his name was.
Dragonet, not Dragonetti, whatever.
Yeah,
and when they put him in the sun, he's like slow burn, and that was tragic. Like sucked for him.
Yeah,
like, why couldn't he walk all the way?
Yeah, or like the big fat Jabba the Hutt.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, and it's funny because we just talked about Goodfellas. How if you wanted to be a made person, like you have to be part of the community in Sicily. Here, it's like you have to have like full vampire blood to even
be born a vampire.
Yeah. So,
dude, and I didn't remember how racist this movie was. So like in the vampire human way.
The vampire
human way.
Because how they were talking, and like Frost being another very 90s character because he even had like the frosted tips and everything. Just that whole
Stephen
like,
Dorff.
Yeah.
Dude, I used to love him.
I mean, he's a great actor. I mean, and especially in Blade where he just has that edgy, like the edginess that you want because. I mean, but again, just
and the
watching
charisma.
Watching it again and being like, well, we'll let like Frost take care of him, even though they dislike Frost because he's such a freaking, rebel in the whole idea of like what he's trying to do. And then it's like kind of like the character. I forgot how complex he was because he's he was made, right? But then at the same time, he's so invested into like getting the vampire like clan to be like superior because they deserve to be superior. Like, yeah, like it makes fucking sense. Like, why wouldn't you want to be the superior race when you can like kill everybody and you are stronger than everybody? So to me, I was like, damn, that is complex because he wasn't originally a vampire. Yeah. But then all of a sudden, his whole agenda is fucking unleash that fucking god and then him take over.
Yeah, and trying to use technology when the other guys are using like abacuses.
Yeah.
Well, dude, when I think about vampires, there's one thing that makes a vampire always. You got to be sexy, and man, Frost. Oh, yeah. Frost was sexy.
Frost and Blade, right? Those two.
Yeah.
Kate Beckinsale. Duh.
Oh yeah. Underworld.
Underworld.
But, real quick, when you think of a vampire, like, what do you guys think? Like, what's your favorite? Honestly, like, I'm being honest, like, being sexy to me is like part of being a vampire. But what other stuff do you guys think about, like, makes a good vampire? And you can bring, like, any movie into it.
You said to be serious. I was going to say they sparkle.
Wait, what were you going to say?
Maybe that's good for you.
They sparkle.
Oh,
like Twilight.
Well, real quick, I mean, that's my sort of kind of vampires that I kind of like were the Twilight vampires. Not because they sparkle, but I love the fact that depending on the vampire, they had powers. So I thought,
that they had like different
cool.
special abilities.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So I really like that part about Twilight, not the sparkle.
I will say I did like that.
Yeah,
and then like in the final movie when they actually like all fought, that was cool.
Oh yeah, once they actually.
I was a fan of that. Yeah. But yeah, like with the vampire, besides the fact that they're sexy, like I think a big part of it is just like they kind of have this weird like ambiguous like are they good or bad thing, and that's kind of like part of like a lot of the really good vampire things that I've seen is that like you're not sure if they're good or if they're bad, or whatever they're doing, if they have ulterior motives or whatever. Or
It comes
Leslie
down to the
Nielsen
blood,
in Dead and
right?
Loving It. Yeah.
Like whether they drink it from humans or animals, or if they try to just do like blood banks. I think
Yeah.
the biggest aspect of vampires is the blood drinking.
Yeah, of course.
And then, as Carlos said, they have to be attractive, obviously. But I think of like Vampire Diaries because I kind of grew up with that show.
Okay.
Yeah.
So to me, I'm thinking like Damon Salvatore, Stefan Salvatore. Like they were typical where they were a little bit stronger and a little bit faster than everybody, but you still looked at them and they were still like they were humanoid, right?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
like True Blood too. They
Mm.
were sexy.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh yeah.
Bro, what was the name of that show where there was a vampire, a werewolf, and a ghost living together?
Oh yeah, dude, I love that one. And it had
Oh yeah.
Darth Maul.
Yeah,
what was a vampire?
that was like peak vampire sexiness.
Mhm.
Yeah. Because there's an American and a British version of that show.
Yeah, well, the American version, that guy is he
Yeah,
still looks
dude.
great, but no,
Yeah.
the one thing I kind of if I had
Being
I was-
human.
being human,
Being
if I was
human,
if I was
yeah.
writing my own vampire like story, like the one thing I like about vampires, I feel like the older you are, the more there should be to you. Like you've gone through so many years, your power, either you develop powers or you're stronger just because you've lived so much. So I just kind of wish
Mhm.
like Ramon, again, you got the new generation, but I wish the old generation had a little bit more backbone to them.
yeah, no, I mean, and it's weird because yeah, like Underworld was one of my biggest like favorite series because everything was so extreme, right? Vampires, the Lycans, there was always like crazy fights, crazy action, and obviously talking out of Blade, it's the same idea, right? But like I don't know, like for me, vampires, like I think that the serious movies where it observes the darkness and the tradition is sometimes fun too. Like it's a funny movie, but Renfield with freaking Nicolas Cage, I love that
Nice, I haven't
movie
seen it.
because it's like a vampire dealing with like real issues in the real world, but he's like kind of pushed into hiding because clearly, and he is like Dracula, so he is kind of this superior being, but again, he kind of is dependent on his familiar, and he's kind of dependent on, I still have to respect the human world because if I get exposed, everybody's gonna try to kill me because I'm the bad guy. And so, like, I don't know. For me, it's just I'm not saying that that's my favorite vampire. What I think a vampire should be. It's just enjoyable to watch.
Which is cool because Blade plays a lot with the idea of like familiars. Like they're
Yeah.
the ones like doing
Mhm.
a lot of the groundwork in the day. So that's like really cool. And then you gotta have your mark somewhere.
Yeah. So that I
Dude,
mean that.
it-
Yeah.
No, yeah, and it's cool how like even with vampire stuff, they always have like the comedies too, because you have the Dracula Dead and Loving It or whatever it's called with Leslie Nielsen, and then you have like Buffy the Vampire Slayer,
my
like
God.
the,
Oh, yeah.
the movie that's like kind of serious but a comedy, and then you kind of have like all these like random spin-offs of like either comedic vampire type of situations.
What's the most recent besides Renfield? Is there any more recent property that has come out that's been popular with that has a vampire in it? Besides again Renfield, they didn't do so good in the box office.
Because it's
I know that there was that one Dracula movie that came out
the
like
ship
10 years
one?
ago.
Yeah,
no, there was
but
a newer one with the ship, wasn't there? Like
Oh,
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
there was- yeah.
No, it's a show.
It's
Oh
a
no,
sh-
no,
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 there was
it's
a
a
movie.
movie. It's a
It's
movie.
called,
Yeah,
like,
there was a movie. There was a show that came out during the pandemic, I think, too, like a Dracula show.
Well, there was
Don't
the
forget-
one,
That was really
the
good.
Midnight Mass. That one was.
Oh,
sort of
that's-
Oh
like-
yeah, Midnight Mass.
Sylvia,
Yeah.
add that one to your list. Midnight
Midnight
Mass.
Midnight
Mass.
Mass.
Okay.
Midnight Mass.
Amazing.
100%.
Awesome. Like
That-
it's
No.
very complex.
Well,
But it
you know,
doesn't have to do with vampires. Don't pay
Yeah.
attention to that part. We didn't spoil that part.
I mean, the reason why I'm asking this is obviously like you have your faces when zombies are popular and zombies are sort of coming back. So like I kind of wanted to pin down like have vampires like step out of popularity, and is there a reason why are they struggling with Blade? Why is it that no other movie has done like a good job saying like people want to see vampires again? Like I don't think people have ever fallen in love with monsters in general. Like if you do a good Invincible Man, if you do a good werewolf movie, like I'll go see it. So it's like again, I'm trying to understand like where the discussions are happening of why they can make a Blade.
Yeah.
Well, I know Universal tried to do their dark
Monster-
universe thing. Yeah. But the Mummy did so bad with the Tom Cruise
Yeah.
that it just killed everything else, because Invisible Man was supposed to be part of that, but the one with the Emily
Emily.
Moss or
Yeah.
Oh wait.
or whatever her name was.
Blunt? No.
No,
Hmm.
Moss.
Oh, but that's
from-
a more recent one. That was like in
no.
current
Yeah, because
world.
he's talking about that world. Yeah.
Yeah, because even that
No,
one
yeah,
had
yeah,
to do
no.
more with technology, and that was an A24 movie.
No, but that was supposed to be part of the Universal Monster series, the MonsterVerse that they were gonna do. But then after the Mummy did so bad, they ended up selling off the Invisible Man.
Well,
And
why-
then
why
they
think-
never did the other Universal monsters like
Well, I
Frankenstein
think
and
these are
werewolves and stuff
public
like that.
domain properties because again, the whole idea of a vampire,
Yeah.
Frankenstein, they're all very long. So I don't think anybody really can own the right to be like, "Oh,
No.
Ramon, you can't do a Invincible Man movie because you
Don't
know
tell me what
technically."
to do.
or Hollow Man with Kevin Bacon.
Yeah. But no, I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, I think it's very vampires are niche, but like, you know, when we talked about zombie movies, not everybody likes zombie movies. And it's kind of the same idea where like I mean, well, obviously most of us do, but you know, have to be nerds who love horror. But I think with vampire movies it's difficult because you do have like a widespread like not genre obviously, but like widespread like storytelling. When you had Twilight was so huge, but in the same time it kind of pushed people away from vampires because
Yeah.
then we just kind of like made vampires sexy and cute, and then same thing with the werewolves. But look at movies like yeah,
Yeah.
but look at movies like Van Helsing or freaking From Dusk to
Oh, yeah.
Dawn. Like I think I like movies where
Yeah.
vampires are the bad guys and or you're conflicted with them because you know they're just creatures of like you know they just come from history. They're historical creatures that you have to kill, and they're never like you never have like a great protagonist vampire. But so when you find these ones like the Nicolas Cage like Renfield, it's fun to watch. But then by now I think people just are tired of them or bored of them,
Yeah.
or maybe they just don't trust them anymore. Like
Because
I don't know,
Renfield
it's
had
like-
some really good action scenes, but again, when you look at the trailer for that movie, the action's not really being shown to you. It's more of a, hey, there's a comedy movie, come see our comedy, but it's not, hey, come see our awesome comedy action movie. And I think that was the problem with that movie.
But I guess that's what I'm saying. I think
Yeah.
you gotta like. I think people want to watch like Queen of the Damned or Daybreakers, like movies that are like action
Yeah.
and crazy, and that you're gonna
Yeah.
have a horde of vampires trying to kill you instead
I'm
of
going
like
to argue
Demon
with
Slayer.
all of you. I
Yes.
think it needs to go back to like Twilight days because that's what got them popular. Well, no, it's what got them
Yeah.
popular,
Yeah.
and then more people
Yeah.
started wanting more vampire movies. It's the same thing with like dystopian movies. Hunger
Yeah.
Games came out, and then everyone
Mhm.
wanted to see a dystopian movie. You need a little bit of that cutesy thing for everybody to start getting attracted to that series, and then those other names start popping up.
Yeah.
So, do we need a Twilight reboot or just something
Yeah,
new
I
entirely?
think so.
I think they're
Mhm.
working on it. I mean, I have something to confess, and it's that I know way too much about Twilight because when I met my wife, it's when this whole franchise was really hot. We went to see every movie in the movie theater. We own copies of each movie on Blu-ray. The movie itself is constantly being played throughout my household. And what I hate about my wife is that she doesn't even care. She just has to have it in the background where
Mhm.
I listen to every detail in the movie. And then I start questioning things about that world. And she can't answer them. So then I feel like unless I go to Reddit or find the answers myself, like I start questioning things about this world. So I do think Twilight actually has a very
Mhm.
creative world. I just don't like the way that the wolves are portrayed. I don't like the fact that the vampires sparkle. But outside of the werewolves, the way they just look like wolves and the sparkling, like I do think it's a very strong franchise that has a lot of potential in it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
And honestly, there is another vampire movie that came out, and again, I think people haven't watched it because it looks more monster-esque. It's called Abigail.
Oh,
yeah. It just came out.
I actually do want to see it. And I hear great things. Like it was well
Yeah.
reviewed. It just people didn't go out to see it.
Yeah,
I
again,
heard good things about the girl. Yeah.
Yeah.
but I think people don't see it because it's not like that era of vampires where it's that cutesy thing where people are thinking, "Oh, Twilight, here's another vampire movie. Let me just watch
Yeah.
it," and then you
It's
have
more of a
all
horror
of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
and see
damn.
the last one that came out, I found it. It was the last voyage of the Demeter.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, see, and that to me,
And it
looked
didn't do
really,
well in theaters
but,
either.
But that to me looked very compelling. But I still haven't seen
Yeah.
it. So that's what I'm
I
saying.
wanna see it too.
Sometimes it's just you're like, yeah, that's the type of vampire movie I want to watch. Where like the Dracula or the vampire turns into an actual giant bat, and it's like crazy. But then you're like, well, I don't need to watch. It's another vampire movie. I'll watch it later when I stumble upon it. So it's like.
Mhm.
It is strange. I mean, we had the same discussion when we were talking about like 28 Days Later and zombies, of the idea that like for a while zombies were like it, like that's all we
Mhm.
wanted to watch, and now it's like give me a zombie movie, and I'm like, Army of Darkness, like all that world. It's just you're like, I don't need to. I've
Yeah.
seen it. Like I know what he's gonna do with it again. Like, but it's I don't know. So maybe yeah. So maybe it's right. You needed something cutesy to bring us all the attention back. and be
Walking
like,
Dead, the game for The Walking Dead, it was so cute with Clementine and Lee, and then you started getting like Walking Dead on the show and everything was about vampires because you had the cute little scenes on the game, and then
You're talking about the phone one, right?
I played it on my computer.
Oh yeah, but
I did not play it.
it's the one that's more like story focused. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking
that
about.
and what is the
The
other
Wolf-
one?
the
Like
Wolf
the
Among
Last
Us?
of Us, yeah, or
Oh,
that, yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
But that's when zombies were like really big and everybody wanted to watch zombies.
yeah.
Do you guys think a Blade movie needs to stay R-rated? Because even with this one,
Yes.
again, you kind of the way
I
you
think
kill
it
Absolutely.
should.
it should, but I'm saying like the way you kill vampires in this movie, the way you see it, there's never really any blood. But obviously, there's blood in other things in the movie. But if you really didn't like, you really could make this movie and really maybe not have as much blood. I don't know if that's what makes it an R-rated movie.
PG-13?
Yeah, like what makes this movie an R-rated? Which part did you think
The
like,
blood.
oh my god, huh?
The
Just
blood.
the blood? Just the
Oh,
blood?
and then in the 90s, the ratings were maybe a little bit more loose, but I think the blood was enough because
Okay.
you're literally killing people, and you're killing people left and right, whether they're vampires or not.
Okay.
It's still a thing that's happening.
People
so
are
it's
getting
like,
shot
I think-
all over the place.
Yep.
I guess I just
Or
imagine
beheaded.
I
Or
just
beheaded.
imagine the rules being as long as you don't show blood, you can kind of kill somebody and get rid of them any way you want. And to me, this is like the perfect example. You just decapitate
Or
them.
Zom
And then,
100 style.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The anime.
yeah, but I don't know what kind of style, like Psalm 100. What do you
No,
mean?
no,
It's
because instead of showing
colorful,
blood,
but-
they showed
Oh,
all these like
yeah.
those bright colors, these
Yeah,
random bright
Beautiful,
colors.
exactly.
beautiful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, like if you killed a zombie and then all of a sudden like beautiful splatter colors, like yeah, like why?
Make it
I w-
sparkly.
Yeah.
A Van Gogh, yeah, sparkly.
Yeah. I will
Uh,
say, when I was reading about the movie, the ending where Frost kind of, becomes how he becomes, it was meant to be where he becomes the Lord and he becomes this whole like blood, just like it's all blood, and he's supposed to be this huge blood vampire, and he's not Frost anymore. And they changed that last minute, so I'm wondering if maybe the rating kind of got switched around because of that. Like they thought that's what the ending was going to be. They just said it was costing too much money and there was too much blood with it.
Oh wow.
Maybe.
Probably CGI budget.
Yeah, probably
Yeah,
CGI
yeah.
budget, because that would have been and even the
Yeah,
scene
yeah,
where
but-
he's
yeah.
like reforming his hand back.
Yeah,
and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, very CGI.
I'm glad they
That's
kept it
other-
the way that they did, though. I liked seeing Frost at the very end as Frost still,
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
opposed to just a blood blob, I
but,
guess.
but it made it uneventful. Because he's
Yeah.
like talking about this giant prophecy, and he needs like 12 spirits, and it's all
And
this
it's just
crazy
him.
thing. And then it's just him with red eyes. I'm like, okay, got
Who
me.
can't
But yeah,
be cut in
cool.
half by his
Yeah, you
sword?
can't cut. Yeah, that's freaking cool, man. Like this idea of just decapitating the guy, and he's just putting himself back together. Like I thought that was really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one of the scenes that I had forgotten about that I cringed at a little bit was when he finally finds out the mother's alive, right? Like Blade's mother's
Oh my
alive.
god,
And then
that was
they're
so
having
weird.
that very close up conversation,
Oh
and
my
she's
God.
like this, and like this, and I'm just like, no, don't do it. Like, it's like, but and then the shot was so close that you're just like, you feel
Yeah.
uncomfortable because they're
Oh.
like, that's your mom, bro. Like, punch her.
Is this
Like,
Game of Thrones or what?
Oh, damn, thank you, Bravo.
The
Talking
whole
about
time I
mommy
was like, is that
issues.
really his mom? That's not his mom. And both of us were saying that's probably not his mom. They're just lying. I'm like, no, I think
It
it's
was.
his,
No,
it's
it was
so
his mom.
close.
Yeah.
Talking about Oedipus complex.
Yeah.
No.
Well, she's the one that wanted him, not the other way around. But no, I mean, that was a nice little cool thing to also remember. I
Yeah.
kind of did forget about the mother.
Dude, I totally forgot about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Oh,
forgot about
wow.
the mother.
Yeah.
But definitely Frost had a thing for that.
Mo-
Well, the
For
whole
dead.
mom thing. No, I'm just saying, like, just the fact that he kept her since that first moment, like, that was cool. Because I'm
Yeah.
like, damn, like that. It wasn't even an accident. The accidental thing. It's just like he bit her on purpose or bit her, and then he just wanted her. So
Mhm.
ultimately, he got her, and I don't know. That was just crazy.
Was Vanessa's character, do you guys think like needed at all? Like, like was it like one of those things like, okay, you rescue her, you give her the cure, and then you send her off, or was she really needed for the whole movie?
She's the reason why we got the cool dart that made him bubble up, and
Yeah.
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
I think that she served her purpose. Also, keep in mind it's the '90s, so there's always got to be a love interest in an action movie. So
Yeah.
so she served that, and then she kind of like served that as the reason why he did like certain things.
But I
like,
thought Whistler and Blade was the love interest right there.
no, he was a father figure.
Oh,
He was the mentor that died. That kind of
No, he
made
didn't.
him kind of that was the straw that broke the camel's back
Yeah,
kind of thing.
temporarily.
Yeah.
I liked her though. I think she gave us the idea of her potentially finding a cure for Blade. So
Yeah.
it keeps you kind of on your toes of, is she going to figure something out to kind of help him? That's
Yeah.
how I at least saw it.
I mean,
Can I
yeah,
give you a spoiler for the second movie?
No, don't
She
spoil
doesn't.
it. No. But I don't even.
She dies.
No, like if you're Blade, why would you want a cure, knowing you're kind of doing things to help out humanity? You know, and he
Yeah.
seems to have a personal vendetta
Because you
So-
hate who
He-
you are.
yeah, he has more serums now that he has to take. He can't control himself anymore as well as he used to.
Well, then at the end, she did have basically a cure for him, but he decided
Yeah,
not to because
not
he
to.
wanted to continue hunting like freaking vampires. So he did do exactly what you said. Carl.
Yeah.
It's like that was his priority. I mean, and it makes sense, especially after they used Whistler for that reason to like kind of create that. Oh, I'm not gonna give up on this, but I don't know. As far as her, like I think Sylvia's right. Like you definitely needed it to be the sense of hope for
Mhm.
him, and I mean the romantic part of it didn't ever really like connect.
I saw
with
no
me.
romance between
Yeah, I saw
those
no
two.
romance between them, but you knew that that's what they were trying to imply. That it was.
I thought it was
ultimately
like
gonna
friends together, just trying to survive.
Be, yeah, I mean, obviously, clearly used her as bait, and then after that,
Yeah.
she was like, "Well, I'm
Yeah.
not leaving because why would
Mhm.
I die? Like if I stay." And she said it. If I stay with you, I'm safe. And I'm like, "Yeah, okay." So now
Yeah.
she's
True.
clingy.
So the first time I ever saw Blade was actually in a Spider-Man cartoon, Sylvia,
Oh,
and
yeah.
in that Spider-Man
Mm.
cartoon, like it was almost like they took that Blade and put him on the big screen because it's almost like the
Mm.
same character. And obviously, if you want somebody to play Blade, you got to follow the comic books. But the one thing they did in that animated show is like I think they gave Blade a motorcycle that can climb walls, if I remember
Oh,
correctly.
okay.
I
I
almost
don't
wish
remember this.
I wish he had that, like just a way
Yeah.
a motorcycle that could just. I think the
Like
wheels
Ghost
spike up.
Rider.
Yeah, and you
yeah.
can ride walls.
Wow.
You need that to hunt
Nice.
vampires, Ro.
Yeah.
Up
Well,
on
they
top of
just
the
get
buildings.
Ghost Rider.
Well, I mean, and then I guess that kind of leads to the idea when you were mentioning earlier about his weapons. Like that's something I think even throughout the next couple movies too. Like I just love that aspect of it. Like
Yeah.
reminds me of Van Helsing, but Van Helsing and obviously he hunts everything. But I don't know. I mean, that to me again for being a vampire of sorts, like he didn't use his strength all the time to beat him. And but I thought it was very comical
Yeah.
that most of the vampires were kind of afraid of him because he had the reputation of being the daywalker and all this stuff. And you know, for a vampire, you know you're strong and you just don't fuck with Blade because he's stronger or he has those weapons. So it's like, I don't know. I always thought I found it comical when they would run away and Frost, for some reason, and a couple of his henchmen were the only people that would kind of try to fight him, but then they all just die pretty quick. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just Blade was pretty badass. And I think that's always what stuck with me since that movie and before then. Like, you
I
just
mean, I
don't
like
fuck
the
with Blade.
guy that in the beginning of the movie he burns him, and then later on he like cuts off his
Yeah.
arm. I thought that was a
Yeah.
pretty like recurring joke. To me, it was a joke, but it was just pretty funny.
He was.
Dude, I loved it. Yeah.
I like
But
that
even-
actor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even in that beginning of the movie, like you said, Ramon, there are like hundreds of vampires in that rave, and he walks in, and instead of all of them just going to fight him, most
Yeah.
of them disperse. They're gone, and then you just have a couple of them fighting him. Which at that point, I think, oh no, he's definitely going to get beat in this first scene, and this is how he turns into a vampire. But no, they all run away. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
And if anything,
Baba Yaga.
well, yeah, right. Well, and if anything,
Which
it made me think more about like what, like it really made me think about like what the fuck are the vampires doing at this time? Because Frost had a point. Like you could tell that this head table weren't worried about preservation; they're worried more about pleasing humans. Because if you really think about it, if you knew you're the superior race, why wouldn't you build an army or have like actual vampire goons or vampire like enforcements? And no, if anything, most of the movie was freaking familiars going after Blade as well. And I'm just like, come on, bro. Like it wasn't until like honestly,
Bureaucracy.
well,
It's because the vampires are trying to like maintain their
I,
power
well, I know, but I'm saying,
dynamics within the vampires and
But that's kind of what sucks is then in the second movie, without like spoilers, that's what you get. You get someone who thinks that they need to be even more superior, and then you get a new version of them. And then the third movie, it's kind of okay, go bring Dracula because clearly he's like the strongest one. And so it's like I mean, but yeah, in this movie, it is kind of a little comical that all these vampires are useless to some degree, and Frost with AD is like, oh, he's gonna get them. Frost, besides his like crazy mentality, it's not really like was he strong? He never really fought until that end.
No.
He was just ambitious.
Yeah,
he
he
was
was just
ambitious.
like again that 90s guy who was like, I got this.
He was the
got
Elon
you,
Musk of vampires.
what?
Do you guys have any problem with the sunscreen scene at all?
Yeah, that's
Yes. Dude, I really did because it kind of so if you're a vampire, all you got to do is put on a ton of sunscreen and a motorcycle helmet, and then you can become a daywalker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I don't know, like I didn't like the fact that you just gotta cover up
So
No.
and you're good.
No,
I
I
was
mean that.
confused by it at first because when she started putting it on his face, I'm like, is he moisturizing? This is not the time. And then he was outside just talking and go, why does he even care to be a daywalker? Like, why is Blade so... But then I realized it's just the sunscreen, but it was confusing.
he
I
wants to
think
be like Edward. He wants to be shiny and
Sparkles.
sparkle.
It was glitter.
I think like Raul was saying, like if you play with the idea of like, hey, vampires, they're not gonna come out after me in the daylight, but if they're wearing motorcycle helmets, they're all dressed like where the sun doesn't really penetrate them. I think it is a cool
But
idea
the
to
sun
like
don't
all of a sudden
shine.
have a fight scene in the day with vampires because you're just not expecting that. So I just again, I'm giving Disney ideas.
All I'm saying is someone needs to tell Muzan from freaking Demon Slayer this trick
Oh.
of sunblock, because then it changes the whole game. Like he doesn't have to freaking search for Nezuko.
And I've been thinking about him throughout this whole episode in Demon Slayer. So there's a guy that his whole goal is like, I want to walk during the
Michael
day.
Jackson, yeah.
Michael Jackson wants to walk on the day.
Yeah. So
No
Yeah.
sunscreen for him, though?
No, he
No.
wears the hat, but that's not enough.
Yeah.
But it's only at night.
Only at night. He wears the hat at
Oh.
night, and that's
Oh,
it.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did read, so in the comics when I was trying to kind of familiarize myself with Blade, it did say at one point that the red sun can burn him, but not regular sun, which is kind of like Superman. So that was kind of
Yeah.
interesting.
How often would we get red sun? Like, how often do we get red? No,
I don't
Never.
know.
We have a
Never.
yellow sun.
I feel like
it
we
would
had
have
a
to be
red
a
sun
separate sun.
a few
Well,
years ago. No,
No, we had a blood moon.
Wait,
Same
no,
thing.
but what qualifies for a red sun? It's
Yeah,
not
what
like the
qualifies for a
time
red
of day.
sun?
It's not like a
Yeah.
time of day thing, or
I don't know.
Yeah.
There are
Maybe I should've-
suns that are red.
well, no,
There
I mean,
are,
and there's
yeah.
times of the day where
Yeah, I
the
feel like
sun
there's-
is like red.
The light
Exactly.
reaching the moon is going through the atmosphere and it shifts, turning it red.
Ah.
So,
So
it's
it's like
typically
I like that.
typically in sunrise, I guess.
Oh, see, yeah. So then, I mean, that's why, and then that one head table guy. That's when they killed him at sunrise. Like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
so
I-
okay.
I like that.
Dratini?
Interesting.
Yeah, I
But
like
wait,
that
why
idea
didn't that
too.
guy with the sunblock guy died? Why didn't Frost? Because he was
What-
also there during.
what is-
I think it only happens every so often because
Okay,
the
okay.
sun has to be super low
Okay.
to like the earth and the atmosphere at that point.
Well, I think she was saying that Blade can get hurt by the sun.
Oh,
If it's a red.
Oh,
sun.
I see
Yeah.
what you mean. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's
So
cool.
that's another cool thing to like play around with. Man, like is anybody writing these notes? We can send them.
I know.
We
We
could
might
probably
as well
just
write
look
it
up.
ourselves.
Might as
Right.
well. Because yeah, like even like vampires attacking during an eclipse. Like, come on, man, it writes itself. Like, I don't
Oh,
understand.
they get stronger during an eclipse because it's
Yeah.
darker. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're in a meteor, like the Fire Nation. I'm kidding.
I was gonna say the Fire Nation.
No.
Or they get
Oh,
weaker during the eclipse.
Well, Daybreakers was good for that reason because aren't they like in Alaska or something? And it's the time where like there's no daylight for like
Yeah.
multiple
Mm.
days, and so it's like
Yeah.
everybody's fucked because you got to deal with vampires 24/7.
Yeah.
And I love that concept because that was the whole point of that movie is that hey, there's gonna be no sun for like 15, 16 days. And how are you gonna hide from the vampires? Like, what are you gonna do? Like, you can't. Like,
Yeah, or it's kind of like the Ethan Hawke movie where they like the cars are completely blacked out, and they're like the automated cars.
Like they're
that
already the
self-driving
vampires are
cars.
already the superior species, Ramon, and like
Which
Yeah. And there's
and
a
they're
blood
running out of
shortage
blood.
because there's they kind of almost killed all the humans. I forgot the name of the movie.
These aren't
but-
great movies.
I
we're
know
just
which one it
talking
is, I
about-
just
Yeah,
can't
I'm
remember.
listening to them. That one sounds really interesting.
No,
though.
it is
It
interesting.
is interesting.
Yeah, and there's actually a way for them to go back to being human. That's what the movie sort of deals
Oh,
Yeah.
into
okay.
later on.
What,
Yeah.
why am I spacing on the movie? What movie is it? Remind me so I can
I don't
watch
remember.
So it's just
Okay.
like they like vampires generally like go to work. They have like everybody's a vampire. Like the whole world's pretty much a vampire. But
How much would it
That's
suck to be a
Daybreaker.
vampire though and have an office job?
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
right.
Yeah,
yeah, you're
the other
thinking
one's
of 30
30
days,
Days
of
a Night.
Yeah,
30
okay,
days
yeah,
of-
switch. Okay, Daybreakers. No wonder I'm like, yeah, okay, right. And I did almost want to say Ethan Hawke Daybreakers, but yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
30 Days a Night
30
is the
Days a
one
Night
that's
is the other one.
fucking
Yeah,
crazy.
Well,
Okay.
Well,
For
you know
both of
who's also part of the new Blade movie that so far hasn't dropped out? Mia Goth, which is the girl
Oh,
from
yeah.
Maxine
Pearl.
at
Mhm.
Pearl. So I think she'd be great as a vampire. So that kind
Yeah.
of also makes me excited about the movie.
well,
Bring back
isn't
the
Kit
Leah.
Harington supposed to be involved with it too?
Okay, so
With
if you
Black
see,
Knight?
so if you
Jared
see,
Leto is also said to be someone in that
Fuck
movie.
Morbius.
no Morbius,
Morbius.
no.
No, that might have
He's-
been a joke. Like
That might have been a joke.
That guy cannot.
He's
He's not allowed to play vampires anymore. Okay, I said it. No kidding, just kidding.
Dude, he's like 50 something, man. If you look up
Who?
his age,
Jared Leto?
Really?
Jared Leto, yeah,
Keep
Really?
singing, man. Keep singing.
Dang.
I love his music though,
yeah.
and
Nah,
a little
I
bit
don't-
of his Joker. I did enjoy.
You know, when I found out that they were remaking
He's
this
52,
movie, and I
yeah.
think they did a great job picking the actor to be Blade.
yeah.
But I thought Michael B. Jordan,
Oh,
because he's
Oh.
younger, and I was like, he would be great. He's still really good physically. He still
But he's
has time.
Killmonger.
You know, he's working on 2 current vampire movies. One of them being with the guy from Black Panther that directed Black Panther. He's already working with him on a
Oh.
vampire movie.
Ryan
And-
Coogler.
Yeah, with Ryan Coogler, and then he's also gonna be part of that Will Smith sequel movie. What is?
Oh
the
yeah,
one?
yeah. I Am Legend.
I Am Legend. So right now he
What?
kind of
Yeah.
has 2 vampire projects
Yes.
happening. Yeah.
Wow.
Hmm.
I
Well,
think he would be great.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I do know that I know he watches anime too. He's an anime fan because
Book him for all the roles.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, I'm
because
down.
in
I love him.
Creed-
I love
Creed
him.
3, like in his room, he had like anime posters up and stuff like that too.
That
Yeah.
fight
Doesn't
was
Henry
very anime.
Cavill also? Didn't he make us
he's a big
PCM?
nerd too.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
making
It's a Warhammer.
Warhammer movie for
Mhm.
or show for Amazon. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's so the whole thing with The Witcher 2, where he was an avid fan of the game and books, and
Which is
then-
why he left.
and why he left because he couldn't take the fact that they just kept on changing stuff or wanting to change stuff, and he's like, "Fuck you guys, I know
Yeah.
better."
Yeah,
Now we have
because
Liam
he read the
Hemsworth.
books, he
Fan.
played the games. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think we can change the race of Blade though, guys. So we might have to like.
Oh, we
again-
weren't saying for Blade,
no.
but you know.
No, we were just saying that Henry Cavill is also. a
Oh,
nerd.
okay.
Get Robert
I
Downey
don't know if we
Jr.
wanna-
No kidding.
I don't know if we want to make Blade Henry Cavill.
Did you
Oh,
hear me,
Tropic
Carlos?
Thunder?
Yeah,
Huh?
I said Robert Downey Jr.
like
like
in
Tropic
Tropic
Thunder.
Thunder.
Oh.
that was a specific role, so that
No.
makes sense.
You
yeah.
know who hit really high popularity? Miles Teller. There we go.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
He- I
Glenn
haven't seen him.
Powell.
Yeah.
Yes. And Sydney Sweeney can be what's her
Oh
name?
my
Vanessa.
Yeah.
Vanessa.
Yeah.
I mean, again, by the time this movie starts filming, which is not going to be anything
Oh my God.
anytime soon, I would
Well,
be surprised. if
who's
he still-
directing it now?
They dropped out. That's the most recent news
Yan
that the director dropped out.
Demange. Yan. Yann.
At this point, I'm choosing not to remember them because they just keep
Really?
dropping out.
Yeah. It's gonna be through Disney, so it's probably gonna be more PG.
No, well, that's the thing with the Deadpool movie. They're going that R rating, so it's like
Yeah,
that's
it's
not
gonna be
really.
the first R-rated Disney MCU movie.
Disney. Wow.
Yeah. So if
Yeah.
you see the movie Eternals, Sylvia, at the end of that movie, the post-credit scenes, you do get to hear Blaze. If you want to hear him, you can do that.
Oh, okay.
You're not gonna see him. You're not gonna know who's talking. But I'm telling you right now, that's Blade.
Okay. Me and my 2 times speed, I will know exactly
or,
who it is.
or if you want to watch Mahershala Ali in a Marvel project, then watch Luke Cage
Luke Cage.
because
Yeah.
he's
goodness.
Cottonmouth in that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's funny because they just
Fair.
made it canon that those universes are connected.
Yeah, I
so
know.
Like, so dumb.
So Blade is Cottonmouth.
You know,
But that happens a lot though with the whole
Yeah.
casting people in the same
A little
universe.
bit, yeah.
Yeah.
dude, I wish that Marvel would have just had its own money to stay itself and not sell the stuff to Disney. Because, like, I don't know. I mean, I don't necessarily hate on Disney because there's still so much other content that comes out of Disney that I enjoy. Like, I'm always a fan of like the old school movies and everything else. But it's just like, and you know they have the money, so that's always promising. But it's just like it fucking sucks that everything lately, Star Wars, MCU, it's just kind of like,
Well,
Dude,
turning people away.
when Bob Iger left, everything kind of went down because they just kind of went for the money, which is why Pixar did bad, Disney Animation did bad, Star Wars did bad, Marvel did bad because Disney owns all of it.
Mhm.
yeah.
I don't know, man. If you get a Blade actor, he does have to have a way with profanity, and I don't mean that as a joke. I mean like there is like a Samuel L. Jackson kind of tone that you need to have with you know you make an insult to somebody, or
Yeah.
you know there's a famous line in this movie that I forgot. None of us said it, but it's a whole there's always a motherfucker trying to skate uphill or something like that, and people love that line from the
Oh
movie.
yeah.
Which again, it's just
Yeah, after he kills Frost.
Yeah.
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 Which I feel like if you're casting, that's the line you make the person say.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's like memorize this one line. That's it.
That's all you need.
No more Blade talking. Quiet.
Nah, I mean it's great. So again, I'm enjoying the fact that you're getting to watch. So now you understand why people are excited, why people are mad that this project isn't happening. You get
So
it.
did, yeah.
Like the first one wasn't just like a joke movie or something from the 1998. It's actually something that today sort of like lives up to it. So I'm
Mhm.
really happy to hear that from you.
It will be hard to live up to it though. It was so action packed, and even for the 90s, everything was so perfect. It's going to be very, very hard to remake
No,
that.
makes
Yeah,
you,
the story was like really tight and like well done throughout
Yeah,
the
there's-
whole movie.
Mhm.
no, yeah, it
Not
makes
too
it,
much of gibberish or just stuff that
Mhm.
didn't make sense.
Straight to the point, which I loved. It wasn't like a lot of
casting
filler
was
in
good,
anything.
yeah.
Mhm.
I wasn't
Yeah.
a giant fan of the girl, but it was
Yeah.
okay.
She was needed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking
I
her
think
up.
they could have done her better.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, I'm looking her up right now just to see if she like looks more familiar to me. But yeah, like sometimes you'll see them in a movie and then that's it. Sadly.
Mm-hmm.
No, not that I know of, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, we did our Blade talk, and I'm excited because now we're moving on to better things next week, which would be video games. And Sylvia, you're the game master for our next episode, so I can't
guess
wait for you
so,
to.
boy.
So make sure you come up with lots of questions to ask us because we're
I'll
from
make
the
a whole chart. I'm gonna come in with a whole PowerPoint presentation to you all. I'll hold up my laptop and just
well,
There
yeah,
you
we
go.
do
have
it.
we haven't tried it in a while, but you can actually share things while we're talking. So
You
yeah,
can share your screen. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So
La-
do I get to show off all my Fortnite skins? Yes.
Like this one's green. This one's a
Yeah.
little bit gold on it.
Oh, don't get. I'm. You think I'm.
This
you
skinny
think I'm
All
kidding?
Might. This
You think
is
I'm kidding?
big
But
All
let me
Might.
apply
No.
it. I have the Blade skin in Fortnite.
Oh,
so
wow.
look,
Do you?
if I was prepared, I would have
No
been
way.
highlighting. Yeah, and his sword and everything. If I was prepared, I would have been highlighting him. I would be like turning him around, like check out that. ass,
When did
like,
they release
sword.
that? What year?
A
did
while
that-
back. I mean,
while back?
once they started doing collaborations, it just exploded. Like Marvel, like there's even like two different types of Groots. There's like Groot's back blings, like Rocket Raccoon back bling that like floats. Like there's just since they started collaborating, there's just so many fun
So-
skins. But again, not unlimited money, so therefore you stop.
So I just
and you
found
can't.
this out today. Are you familiar with the game Alan Wake, Sylvia, at all? Alan
Maybe
Wake,
I need
maybe?
to see it.
It's
Adlin Wait?
Alan, Alan, and then Wake, I believe is the name of the game. Alan Wake.
Survival game?
Yeah. So anyways,
Oh,
I just
Alan Wake.
found out
Okay.
that they have a Fortnite skin for him and it costs $40, so it's just kind of like I don't know if that's the
Oh, that's
normal-
who that guy is. No, it was
Yeah.
funny. It was,
you seen him?
I seen the skin. I mean,
Okay.
now, not recently is when I've been like playing less Fortnite, and then outside of the Magneto skin coming out soon,
Oh, yeah.
that I'm gonna go back and play to get. Like I just, but yeah, that's how it was in the beginning. I'm like any skin that was a collaboration of something I loved. Like I had all the initial MCU like skins, and now it's just like obviously priority.
Goku.
I can't pay for stuff anymore. I'm like, but yeah, they released this guy, and I had no clue who he was.
Well, if you want to play with somebody that looks like your dad, go ahead and pay $40 to.
Yeah, to get him.
I have a guy with a sombrero. It's a little different, you know.
No, that's actually the joke somebody made, and because
really?
I found out today, like, yeah, I didn't like. I'm like 40. Like, does it really cost $40?
No. It was like 22 at most, I think.
Oh, damn, that's all.
Yeah.
For a hat, yeah.
For a skin.
Yeah.
Gross.
That's my
Yeah.
Valorant
$2.
days. Yeah, my
Oh, no,
Valorant days. Oh,
That's still Overwatch a
like
little
a
bit
whole
for me right
set
now.
would be like $78, and you don't
you
even get
guys-
all the gun.
And this is what we're gonna talk about next week, because I want to know where your
Yeah,
money's
see?
going.
Oh, okay. I'll itemize all my skins from Apex, Overwatch, and Fortnite, and then you're gonna be like, Ramon, you could have bought a whole house with that. I'm like,
And then don't
tell
we'll
my
make
wife.
sure
Don't
make
tell
sure
my
your
wife.
wife doesn't listen to that episode.
I think the only extra thing I bought was the Ninja Turtles in Injustice.
oh, Ninja Turtles in Fortnite, they're so beautiful. Oh yeah, Injustice too. You're right. I did buy the Ninja Turtle, and I didn't even play Injustice. I downloaded it because it was in the Game Pass, and then I was like, Ninja Turtles, I'll buy them, and then I never played it again.
Guys, you guys.
We're gonna go through this, and someone's gonna start taking notes of how much Ramon and I spend on games.
Oh, I'm
They're
so
just gonna be
excited.
like,
It might be
So
one of those
excited for next week
episodes
now.
where me and Raul are trying to convince you guys to like
It's
not
like
spending more money.
It's like surprise. This is an intervention. Sylvia Ramon, we have to talk. We
We're both
invited.
like, movies are so expensive nowadays. So this is my $50 skin. It's really pretty.
Okay, yeah, I think you're right. You're gonna
It
see a
shines in
really-
the sun.
You're gonna see a very weird side of us where you're like, how do you live? How do you feed yourself? How do you feed your wife? How can you afford that? Like, how are you wearing clothes right now? Like, okay.
No, it's okay, man. I mean, I spend my share of money on things that I don't talk about too much.
They're behind you.
Yeah.
No,
Behind
no,
Turn
no,
around.
no. I'm talking about like my comic book phase that I went through. But yeah,
I mean, still turn around.
hey, those
Like-
are like $12 at Ross.
Okay, so start counting them. Like
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4,
You wanna-
5,
dude,
6, 7. Dude, at
Sylvia.
least like $100 per shelf.
Sylvia,
Like,
so I can't show you, but right above me is a wall full of amiibos, and I'm talking about possibly 80 of them, and each one of them obviously costs like $15. But that's physical. I can grab one and show it to you and play around with it, where you can't do that with a skin. You can't grab a skin and be like, yeah, I'm gonna play.
We can take pictures of our skins
Oh
and,
my
and
God.
set them as our wallpapers and
This is-
show people on our phones.
I can
you
put
know?
out-
Physical thing.
I can put on my new Ing avatar like skin and go murder
Oh.
people and think that it's like
Who
me.
is
It's
that,
like,
Carlos?
Mhm.
It's Smart from Smash Brothers.
Smash. Brothers.
Oh,
Yeah, all my
The
amigos are
sword guy?
mostly Smash Brothers. Yeah.
No, it's a problem. It's a problem. We'll talk about it next week, because for sure,
All right.
for sure, it's
All
a
right. I'm
problem.
ending this. I'll talk to you guys.
Okay.
Bye.